I made the decision to move to Playas de Tijuana, I was broke, and it wasn't save money type of broke. It was literally bankruptcy broke. Pretty much I'm going to have to live on the street type broke. And I was depressed. I was severely depressed, and I was confused. And now that pretty much everything's changed, I obviously feel more comfortable talking about it now. And I tell my family or some of my family members how awful the past 7 years or so have been for me. And because I've always had a job and I always work, and they say to me, "Oh, you must have been so embarrassed. You must have been so embarrassed." I'm like, no, I wasn't embarrassed. I was confused. I was confused how a healthy person could work 6 or 7 days a week, 10 to 15 hours a day, and have nothing. Absolutely effing nothing. I was confused. And even at this point, when I talk to people about it, I'm still not embarrassed about it. Now that I've worked my way through the confusion, I'm like, there was no embarrassment. If I had known what was going on at the time, I just would have taken care of it. But it took time to figure out what was actually going on. I was depressed because when I lived in Los Angeles, obviously, you want to do things like you want to go out to restaurants, you want to go to the mall and you want to go shopping, you want to go see a movie, things that I wanted to do, not even luxurious things, but just simple things like go see a movie, buy a bag of coffee at the grocery store, eat at a nice restaurant. I couldn't do it because I had no money, yet I worked all the time. I worked so much. I've never worked so much and so hard in my life, and I literally had nothing, which led to depression, and it led to confusion. And I was bankrupt broke because the living expenses for Southern California just eat away at all my disposable income. So let's say you want to go see a movie in Los Angeles. Movie tickets are $18 a ticket. That's crazy. Plus you have to pay for parking. So there's no free parking. So you pay for parking, you pay for the ticket. I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy stuff. You want to go to the grocery store and get a bag of coffee. It's like $12.99 for a decent bag of coffee. You want to eat at a nice restaurant. And, sure, there are like casual nice restaurants and then there are upscale nice restaurants, but you got to pay for parking. So really, you're still looking at about $75 to eat not even a nice upscale restaurant, but a decent restaurant because you have to look at the parking and the tip. So I did not take any vacations. This was not my luxurious lifestyle eating away at my income. This was daily activities. I couldn't do anything. I was bankrupt broke, paying all the fees, all the expenses, all the parking tickets, all the penalties, the rent that increased every year, just the basic daily, everyday person living expenses ate away at all my income. And I had nothing, period. I worked 7 days a week, 10 to 15 hours a day. I could not even eat at a nice restaurant. I was depressed. Couldn't go see a movie. I was depressed. And I'm not embarrassed about it, because now I can look back and I can see, these living expenses in Southern California, they're out of control. Either you're going to be rich in California or you're going to be really poor. There is no in between. There is no in between. Well, you could put it, this is the in between. You can write everything off as a business expense. Write your life off in California as a business expense. That's the in between. You're very, very rich. You're writing everything off as a business expense, or you're poor. Period. So getting to how you can change your life in 6 months. When I first moved to Mexico, I did sleep for about 3 months because I had not slept in years. So I did sleep for about 3 months. And I have to say it was worth it because that's how bad my life was. And even with my body, I felt my body change because my body relaxed, because the next month I'm simply saving $1,000 in rent, and I didn't have to go out and hustle up that money for parking tickets, for, food. The food is cheaper in Mexico, so I could actually eat at a restaurant. I could actually buy stuff at the grocery store, and I didn't have to hustle as much, which took a lot of stress off my body. So first thing you're going to be able to do in Mexico is relax your body, because you don't have to go and hustle up that money like you did before. You can just relax your body. and then look at your life and figure out how you're going to fix it. So I am very fortunate to be in a position where I can more or less do it from home. Occasionally, yes, I do have to meet people, but for the most part, I can, now that I'm more skilled at it, it wasn't like this before. Now that I'm more skilled, I can actually do most of my work from home. In fact, about 75% of my income now is from working from home. And like I said, I'm very fortunate to be in the industry and to know people that, you know, can make that happen for me. It did not happen at first. For me to get to a point where I even got a little bit of work from home money, I had to beg people and maneuver people and negotiate with people for about 2 to 3 months. And some things, you know, I took less money for because I wanted to work from home. But once it became clear that I was capable and confident to work from home, my income, not only did it return to what I was making before, I actually make more money now. I make more money now in Mexico than I did in Los Angeles. Plus, I pay lower expenses. So if you're not in an industry that you can sort of maneuver to work from home, you can actually look up jobs to work from home. So they have these online teaching jobs, and you're not teaching U.S. students. You're actually teaching students in China or students in South America and maybe Africa. And you're thinking, that's not going to be enough to cover my income. Well, when you start and no one knows you, you're really not going to make that much money. But if you stick with it, then people will know you, you will be more credible, and you will start to make more money from home. Online is about following through even when it's not that much money, because now that you're sitting at home on your computer, you can work with more than one person and more than one company. So keep that in mind. Maybe it's not that much up front, but as you become more experienced and more credible, you can work with more people in one location, which is your home, and actually make more money. If you're like, let's say, a receptionist or, I don't know, an assistant, you could be a virtual assistant, you can do clerical work, you can do research for anyone. Go to this website, Upwork.com, and look at some of the jobs that are available. And some jobs do pay well, some jobs do pay very low, but it's up to you to go in and look at these jobs, determine how much they pay. But if you're living in Mexico and you have to take a little bit less, remember that your expenses right now are lower, but speaking English is such a powerful tool. So you can actually go online and work for people and still make an income online if you're an American. It works out really, really well for Americans. Not so much for people that aren't Americans, but if you're American, it works. So teaching online, virtual assistant, research and development, all these things, all these jobs can be done online. Everything pretty much can be done online. So never think that your income can't go from a physical office or workplace to an online environment. And like I said, it's going to take a few months. And so once I begged people for about 2 to 3 months to send me work from home, and I got little pieces here and little pieces there, it began to add up. And I didn't think it would add up, and I didn't think it would really, really get me to the point where I am now. And where I am now is that my life is a complete 180 from Los Angeles, a complete 180. And so even when I look at places in Los Angeles now, like the better places that I would actually pay for, I can afford those places now. I can afford those places. And one thing that I was able to do is actually incorporate my freelance work, my independent contractor work, within another state, within the United States. So now, I have a full corporation online, and I pay taxes in a very corporate-friendly state while living in Mexico and paying lower expenses. So anything is possible. Not depressed anymore. I was never embarrassed. I was just confused as to how I worked so much and made so little. But I think I've been in Playas de Tijuana for about 2.5 years now, and I have a completely different lifestyle. Completely different. All the vacations I did not take for the past 6 or 7 years. I wanted to go to Cabo San Lucas. I wanted to go to the Mediterranean. I am planning those vacations now. I couldn't do it while I lived in Los Angeles, but I'm planning those vacations now. All those nice restaurants I couldn't go to and those places I couldn't shop at, I can actually shop there now. but there was no one to help me. There was no one to say, you need to create an online income. There's no reality where you're crossing the border every day and living in Mexico works for you. So find a place in Mexico. You're off the bat, you're going to save $1,000 per month if you're paying like, $1,200 or $1,500 per month. So you're probably going to save roughly $1,000 per month. Take that money. If you have bills that put you in bankruptcy, pay those bankruptcy bills. But ultimately, just start to fix your life and start to look for new skills and new opportunities where it does not matter where in the world you live, but you can have the lifestyle that you want to have and do the things that you want to do.